Namaskar and welcome to Kunli Consult once again. In the month of January 2023, Saturn or Shani will cross over to Aquarius. It has just completed its retrograde in Capricorn or Makar and has started its full forward move. Now with that, lot of videos, lot of people have started talking about when it goes into Aquarius, whose Shani Sade would end, whose would start, what would affect. In fact, this concept of Shani's Sade or 7.5 years of Saturn is a concept which people are very afraid of. And there are a lot of YouTube videos, n number of them saying you must do this, you must do not do this remedy, do that remedy. In fact, it has become, if you look at the number of articles written and talk to the people, even if people do not understand anything about astrology, they talk about deadly period of Shani's Sade. Today, I will try to break this myth out here. So first, let's start to understand what is Shani's Sade, what is it all about. So when the Saturn transits through the previous house where your moon is, the house with moon is, and the next house after moon, that 3 transits are considered Shani Sade. Saturn takes roughly 2.5 years to cover each sign. Therefore, the sign before where your moon is located in your horoscope, 2.5 years of that. The house in which your moon is, 2.5 years of that. And the next house, which is another 2.5 years. So you add up 7.5 years. Now, this period is called Shani's Sade. And let us try to understand what happens in there or why it happens. And then I will come to the point of why I consider it as a kind of a myth. I am not saying that it has no effect, but I'll tell you as per my interpretation, the effect of purely Shani Shakti is probably less than 15% on the overall scheme of things. So Shani is a planet which is Karaka of pressure, tension, stress, grief, and constraint. These are very important. Stress, grief, and constraint. Now, moon is your emotion. It has a Karaka of emotion. As well as remember, moon gets exalted in the sign of Taurus, which is a sign of resources. So moon is also therefore an indicator of resources. Food, cash, water. These are the main resources that you have to live in your life. So when a planet like Saturn goes over moon, passes over moon, and if it is a Karaka for grief, tension, and constraint, then it gives you stress or it is likely to constrain your resources, that is your money. Saturn is also Karaka of your work. So there's a lot of stress related to work directly or indirectly. So what gets affected by purely transitory effect is your emotions because of stress, may be related to either work or resources or both. So these are the things which happen during Shani Sade. Now, why did I say that it has less than 15% I give less than 15% effect. See, in a horoscope, whether it is Shani Saraswati or for that matter, any planets transit, though they, though they have an effect, you are mainly guided by your dashas and antardashas. And of course, in my calculation, my scheme of things, my way of prediction, I work on Kal Chakra Dasha rather than Vimshotri Dasha. Whereas most of the astrologers that you would go to, you would hear about, talk about Vimshotri Dasha, simply because that is the easiest Dasha for anybody to try and explain things. If you have to be more precise, then you have to go to Kal Chakra Dasha. Unfortunately, most of the astrologers do not understand the Kal Chakra Dasha or cannot predict. By Kal Chakra Dasha, if your timing is exact to the second birth timing, then you can get the prediction exact to the day. Okay, so let's move on. So, in your life, in your horoscope, what dominates is your Dasha, Antardasha, and the planetary position of your natal chart by which Dasha, Antardashas are decided under whichever system, whether Kal Chakra Dasha or Vimshu. That is the prime guiding area. And therefore, as I said, any planetary transit, major planetary transit, whether it is Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, or Ketu, because these four are usually a little bit long duration transit, so they do affect you a little bit longer because you can see them, but they have only to the extent of probably affecting you 15%. And sometimes even not that if your dasha and the dashas are powerful. Now, where does it happen? Moon dasha, whether it is in Vimshotri's moon dasha or whether it is in Kal Chakra dasha when Cancer dasha gets activated, or the sign of that dasha where moon is located, then you are under moon dasha. And moon dasha, however good your moon is placed, it is generally not a good dasha. The time period deteriorates as it goes on. It starts off well, but very soon it starts deteriorating. And therefore, if your Shani Saraswati happens to be in Moon Dasha, then you are getting an effect of Moon Dasha, which is generally bad, added to it the stress of Shani Saraswati. And that's why it becomes a really problem. But if your Shani Saraswati is falling in any other Dasha, then you would feel the effect to less than 50%. So the myth that I want to break is that Shani Saraswati is bad and everything else stops and only Shani Saraswati operates during this time. That is wrong and need not be feared about that. And to take an example of that, to give you an example to break that myth, I would take the horoscope of Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was a simple bureaucrat, a governor of RBI when he reached one of the top positions. Then suddenly one fine day he became the finance minister of the country, is said to be the father of liberalization. And then in 2004, suddenly Sonia Gandhi did not want to become the prime minister and picked him up. I will take his example. Now, as I said, the moon dasha is generally bad for most of the people, or you can take it that moon dasha is bad. Similarly, on the other side, Mars dasha, however bad Mars is, it is generally a good dasha for it. And Dr. Manmohan Singh became the finance minister of the country when under Vimshotri, his Mars Dasha was running. Now, Mars Dasha, it starts off on a lower note, but as it goes high, as the time passes, it takes you to the peak. So a moon dasha starts from the peak, goes to the lowest point at the end of the dasha. The Mars dasha is just the opposite. It starts at the lowest point and goes to the highest point at the end of the dasha. And the finance minister and Dr. Manmohan Singh became the finance minister of the country when his Mars dasha was in the middle, and he became an acclaimed, he was started becoming the face of Indian liberalization at its peak of Mars dasha. Now, why did I pick this up? I picked this up because once again, Dr. Manmohan Singh suddenly became the prime minister of this country at the peak of its Shani Sati. And incidentally, in his horoscope, under Kal Chakra Dasha, his Mars got activated in 1990, in 2003 and in 2004, he became the prime minister of the country. And in fact, if I look at it from 1996 to 2014, his Rahu Dasha was running. 2014, his Rahu Dasha ended, and he, lost the election. And in this entire period of being prime minister, for 10 years, 7.5 years was Shani Sarasat. So you can imagine what I'm trying to tell you is that the Dasha, and I gave you the example of the Dashas that Dr. Manmohan Singh was running when he became the finance minister of the country and when he became the prime minister of the country. Shani Sarasati had no effect, and he was completely guided by the Dasha and Mahadasha, whether it is Kal Chakra Dasha or his Vimshatri Dasha. So what happens to the stress part, the constraint part? So if you see, when he became the prime minister, I'm trying to just interpret this. When suddenly he became thrown in as the prime minister of the country, he had a lot of stress on his job. Why? Because he suddenly became the prime minister of the country. Now, he was chosen by Sonia Gandhi, but had a low profile. There were very high profile people like Dr. say Pranab Mukherjee, who aspired to be the prime minister. And therefore, you can assume the friction that was going on with some of the senior leaders in Congress, whom Sonia Gandhi bypassed to make Dr. Manmohan Singh the prime minister. And it is normally said that Dr. Manmohan Singh did not have a free hand. So he must have had the stress of not only managing his senior colleagues, but also probably listening to Sonia Gandhi on the other side. Incidentally, his moon, his Mars are associated with Venus. Venus for a lady in this horoscope. And therefore, you can see that entire connection play out. But to prove the point, that Shani's Sarasati has been made a big story to generate a lot of fear, which is not. So what do you do therefore? It is not that I have said that you will not face stress of work or constraint during that period if you are running a bad Mahadasha. So two remedies. Now, obviously, if I have to make a remedy or tell you a remedy, it has to be specific to your horoscope and the dasha antardasha that you are running and the planetary positions. So I cannot tell you a general remedy which will work for all. But two general remedies during Shani Sarasati, or for that matter, whenever Saturn is getting affected or affecting you in a bad sense. And especially during Shani Sarasati, if you still have in the back of your mind that it is still affecting. Number one, if you are running through emotional problems, stress in life, drink cold milk or worship shivling on a Monday with cold milk. Rudra Abhishek of shivling with cold milk on Monday. That is one general remedy which will work in spite of anything. There are some remedies which can backfire. This remedy will not backfire. It will only give you positive, even if Saturn is not affected, even if you have made a wrong interpretation. And second, light a diya on the light a diya on the southern side opening of your house. So it can be a balcony, it can be a window, it can be a door. So light a diya on the south side, the exact south side of your house, if there is an if there is a wall, it's not that you go out on the other side of the wall and light a diya. Neither should you light that diya inside the house. So if there is a south side opening either by a window or a door or a balcony, light a diya after sunset every night, especially on Saturdays, if not every day on Saturdays, after the sunset in the evening when there's dark, on the south side of the house. These two should take care a lot of stress or anything negativity that you're feeling due to Shani Sati, or for that matter, any reason due to Saturn, or even if it is in your mind that it is due to Saturn. I hope this video is useful. Do subscribe to my channel and spread it to your friends, families, and relatives to spread the correct message of true astrology as per the Shastras, as per the Indian Shastras. Thank you and Namaskar.